My name is Jim Hoggett, pastor of Coeur Open Bible, and we are sitting in my office with a couple that's been referred to counseling through the Apostle Paul from the New Testament. These guys are in the book of Acts. Their name is Priscilla and Aquila. So we're going to talk a little bit today about what we call family systems. Family systems is a new thing that's been evolving in the counseling office, where you're not talking about just the individual, but you always talk about the individual in the context of the family that they come from. Every family has a family dance. To understand a family dance, think of a child's mobile that hangs over your crib. You move one thing and everything else shifts. We're going to talk about a particular dance called codependent. Codependent. Now, it used to be you would work with just the alcoholic. Now we work with the alcoholic and his family, because the alcoholic is sick, but so is the family. It works like this. Here is a person, and somebody else, let's say maybe his wife, is leaning against him, so she's dependent upon him. But in order to prop himself up, he has the alcohol or the drugs going, so what she has to do is support the drug habit to support him so he can support her. Codependent. Now, codependent people now have their own thing. Alcoholics Anonymous have their group. They have developed a whole new group with these people. They're called the Al-Anon. And you can go to Al-Anon and work on your problem with the codependency. My brother, Dr. Jerry Camry Hoggett, wrote a book once about a dragon. And after he had finished with this story, he found out a bit of information about himself that he did not know. He found out that you do not have to have alcohol in the household to have an alcoholic dance. My father never drank a day in his life, but he still had a very dysfunctional alcoholic dance. And Jerry had realized when he learned that he had just written his own story. Now, I knew a man once who used to be an alcoholic, and then he finally went to AA. And it's very interesting to walk down the street with this guy, because he can tell you things about people just by watching them. It's almost like there's a secret language going on. You can identify him. He'll say, that person's an alcoholic. That person goes to AA. And he can do it by the way they walk or the way they talk. It's almost like there's a secret language going on below the surface. Now, there were three pastors that started AA. And one of them was Bob Farwell, and the other one is Bill Wilson. So he tells me that there's a secret code you can do with another alcoholic. You walk up to him and you say, hey, you friends of Bill? And the other guy recognizes that and says, yeah, I'm a friend of Bill's. And then he says, I'm talking to somebody who's inside my inner circle. I'm talking to somebody who's in AA. In fact, they tell me that if you go to an airport and you have a layover, and you have a problem with alcohol, and you are trying to resist to go to the bar and drink, you can go and announce over the loudspeaker that you need to talk to Bill W. So the announcement, paging Bill W, will please come to the stand. And then all kinds of people who are alcoholics that belong to AA will come and show and walk you through that time. Do you know the early Christians had a high sign? I don't know if you know this or not. But it was against the law to be a Christian, and many of them ended up being crucified and persecuted. And so they would go and they would meet another person. And as they're talking to them, they'd take their foot in the dirt, and they would make a half moon with their foot. Now, if the other person was a Christian, they would watch them do that, and they would do the opposite side, another half moon, which actually made the form of a fish. Now, that's why we get the word fish for a Christian symbol. The word in Greek is ichthus, 5 letters. And what it stands for is Jesus Christ, God's Son, Savior. Jesus Christ, God's Son, Savior, which is the actual word for fish. Okay? So you'll see a lot of Christians have fish, and that's our secret symbol. They say that if you have a room of 500 people, and 2 of them are codependent, they will find each other. It's like they look across the room and they recognize something about this other person. Something about this other person looks familiar. It looks like something they know. It feels like home. And so it's like the lights go down and the spotlight comes on. And they glide across the room and they find each other. And you have one codependent family who finds someone from another codependent family, and they produce a third codependent family. And that makes sense because it feels like home. But you have one family that's dysfunctional, meets another dysfunctional family, and then they end up producing a third dysfunctional. In fact, they say it takes 3 generations of dysfunctional people to produce one schizophrenic. So, we'll pick this up next week. Thank you.